Now if we go to a slow sink, the slow sink's going to fall approximately a foot every 2 seconds. But the neat thing is as long as you keep your line taut and you don't drop your rod tip, this lure is going to hold horizontal in the water with a tight line. Just from the friction in your line, you get it down there 5, 6, 7 foot, that lure is going to start to suspend horizontally. Now it'll drop about a foot every 2 seconds. If you drop the slack in your rod tip, it'll actually drop the nose of the bait where it looks like a fish is kind of swimming down. So it looks natural no matter if you're holding it with a tight line or if you drop your line, it'll make it swim head first. But the neat thing about this is you watch it in the water. If I drop the lure down, it'll do a slow spiral on slack line. And you see this bass coming up on it right there. Okay. If you hold it, this is one of the only baits in the system that you can hold it straight up and down on your rod tip, and it will suspend horizontally. So you can see it right here. So if you have fish following it, you can actually just stop your rod and move it real slow, and it'll swim horizontally right underneath the boat. Or if you want to go down and work a bed fish or something, you can actually throw it on a bed, keep your rod tip high, and if you keep your rod tip high and keep that line taut, it will suspend off the hooks. Now, the directional changes when this goes in the water and you throw it out there, the directional changes are the same as the floater. It'll do 180-degree turns by twitching it, either soft twitches like this or hard twitches. Let's do better hard twitches. Creates a lot of flash. The lure actually knocks with that one ball bearing in the back. And the whole key is when you do this, when you twitch it, just wind up your slack and you'll actually make that bait from going 180 degrees behind to facing forward. And then you slow roll it. Now that slow roll right there is approximately 1 wind every 2 seconds. So you have the same kick as you do with the floater, but that's subsurface, and you can actually count this down 10, 15, 20 feet and still do this slow cadence. Now, if you wanted to take it and make it go across the water and make it V-weight quicker, and you're trying it with the floating bait, the floater's going to actually, oh, I think there's a face-off. Now the floater, if you're reeling real quick, it's going to actually lift out the water and kick out. It wasn't built for fast ripping across the water or fast retrieve, but you do it with the slow sink, like this little bluegill's coming up on it. And watch how fast you can do the slow sink across the surface. So you keep your rod tip a little bit higher when the lure's out, and then as it gets closer, you can actually drop your rod tip. So there's your slow sink. So there's 2 different tools that you can use in different types of the water column, but you could actually use them upper, lower, mid, you can do top, middle, bottom with each lure depending on what type of technique you're using. If you wanted to go out in long line with lead line down deep with a short tag end of mono, you can actually use a floater and go super slow, and that floater is going to float above the bottom even if you stop. The slow sink's going to still drop on you.